Greetings, fellow Whovians, and welcome to Timey Wimey Review. I conclude my seasonal Doctor Who reviews of 2021 by taking a look at the 12th Doctor episode Twice Upon a Time, originally broadcast on BBC One on Christmas Day 2017, and to date is the last of the Doctor Who Christmas specials to be broadcast. Just in case you don't know the plot, the 12th Doctor is refusing to regenerate. The TARDIS takes the Doctor to the South Pole, where another Time Lord is refusing to regenerate. The same Time Lord. Yes, the 12th Doctor meets the First Doctor, and their regeneration refusals cause a temporal disturbance, which also involves a World War I British captain and a holographic pilot known as Testimony. I have to say, after watching some of the 12th Doctor episodes quite recently, Peter Capaldi is starting to grow on me a little more than when I originally viewed these episodes. He's not going to be in my top echelon of greatest Doctors, but I really enjoyed his performance, especially in this episode, and I really like the interactions between the First Doctor and the 12th Doctor, and just the clashing of personas. It's just really fun to see on screen. And how about this for a Christmas treat? David Bradley returning after a hugely successful performance in An Adventure in Space and Time. I still find it a little bit surreal to get my head around that David Bradley was basically playing William Hartnell being the First Doctor in An Adventure in Space and Time, but now he's back and he is the First Doctor, and I think it's a very respectful performance from David to as a homage to William Hartnell. It's not like a direct copy, very similar to when Richard Herndon did his performance as the First Doctor in The Five Doctors in classic Doctor Who. It's a very, like I said, tasteful look at that performance, and I really liked in this story that they just looked at the political incorrectness in the First Doctor. I'm glad they just didn't sweep it under the carpet. They kind of embraced it, made it a bit more sort of humorous, but sort of learning from that as well, because times do change, and again, styles of contrast. And I can't believe they got away with it in a sense, but out of all the questionable moments from the First Doctor era, they got the line of "You deserve a jolly good smack bottom." I thought the delivery of that line was so good, and yeah, again with that interactiveness between the first and 12th Doctor, that sort of just clash of personas, and just the way that David Bradley just performed as the First Doctor, and 12th Doctor was kind of like, oh, let's not talk about that again, and this, that, and the other. So it's a good way of learning from your mistakes. I've forgotten how good a character Bill Potts was, and Pearl Mackie was amazing in that role. Bill is a very well-rounded character, I think, and considering she had quite a short span in times of time frames of different companions, you compare this to Yaz. Yeah, very, very different, and it would be interesting how Bill Potts would be in the Chibnall era. Very, very interested. But Pearl was amazing. I love how she handled, or Bill handled, the line with the captain and the First Doctor. First Doctor saying, "I know my way around women," and laughing and joking in a very rubbishly sexist way, and Bill just shuts them down by replying, "Yeah, and I know how women are handled, probably more intimately than you." And yeah, just a very nice, subtle way, and yeah, a very well-rounded character. Great performance from Pearl. Also, we have an amazing supporting guest star in the form of Mark Gatiss. I'm glad Mark was involved in some shape or form in Peter Capaldi's final episode as the Doctor. Also, it's Stephen Moffat's final writing piece for the Doctor before he bowed out as the script editor, showrunner. And yeah, you couldn't get any better than Mark. And I really enjoyed his performance as the captain. And if anything, he was very underrated in this performance. And Mark Gatiss is Doctor Who through and through. I would love to see him back as at least writing an episode or a future showrunner one day. I please hope that happens at some point, because he, as well as Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat, he is Mr. Doctor Who. With all the humour and fun this episode has, it also has some very chilling moments and quite sort of emotional moments as well. Most notably, the captain, when he says, "What do you mean, one?" He just knows it's the Great War to end all wars, but nope, spoilers. And yeah, that the scenes towards the end when the captain was going back again, it's just that nice sort of, you don't want to die, you don't want to regenerate, and he was ready to meet his maker. And then boom, we have that Christmas Day moment in World War I where there was that unofficial truce between the British and German forces, and they all sort of shook hands, having singing Silent Night. It's so harrowing and so emotional, and that's again just another part of Christmas where, if anything, might not have been sort of remembered as much, but if anything, this episode brings it out more, least we forget. And talk about a send off. This is one of my favourite regenerations. This was in my top 5 Doctor regenerations. And just the build up from probably even earlier on in the episode, if anything, just from beginning of this episode to to the ending, to that regeneration scene, just builds and builds and builds. And again, this is just a standout moment for Peter Capaldi. It's a great speech, because not only really are we saying goodbye to the 12th Doctor, we're saying goodbye to Stephen Moffat, and we're also saying goodbye to composer Murray Gold, arguably probably one of the best, if not the best, Doctor Who composer of all time, from classic and modern era. And just the whole package is amazing. The speech, the delivery, the music, it just gives me chills every time I've seen it. And more recently, I've just watched this clip now again with the regeneration just before filming this review, and it gives me goosebumps every time. I'm going to give Twice Upon a Time a TARDIS rating of 7.5 out of 10. This is a really strong regeneration story and a very good Christmas story, just combining the two together. It's just shows another side of Christmas, with the background of World War One and the battlefield, and obviously another side to the Doctor and that refusal of the regeneration, and just really wraps things up in a nice little bow. Not only in the sort of Moffat era with the nice little loose threads, with a few surprises involving the captain and the Doctor's 12th Doctor's past companions, but also we have the involvement of Rusty the Dalek. I hope Rusty comes back at some point. I think, again, he was very underused. They could have done a few more stories with Rusty the Dalek. It also neatly wraps up the first Doctor's story as well, with cutting into the final moments of the 10th planet, using the clips from the original, but also having that recreation moments with Ben and Polly. That was really good to see that as well, and a masterful recreation and very tasteful recreation. So to have that sort of extra sort of loop, and then sort of loop back into the 10th planet to see the first regeneration, and thankfully having that surviving clip of the first regeneration with the first Doctor going into the second Doctor, really good to see, and just really nicely intertwined into this story. I'm connected to this episode emotionally than I was to the Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, what I reviewed last week. And yeah, it's just, I had more of an emotional connection. I think it's because of, with it being more involved than a Doctor, rather than a bunch of strangers that you're just going to be with for an hour. But even to be fair, I was even connected to the captain, but maybe again because of the Doctor Who connections that was tied in, without going into too many spoilers. This was the one that gave me the feels, and especially with the World War One soldiers as well from both sides. And yeah, just, it's just a really good episode. And if you haven't watched it before, or haven't watched it for a while, do check it out. Make this one of your top Doctor Who moments to watch this Christmas season. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Twice Upon a Time. Is it your favourite Doctor Who Christmas special? Or even is it your favourite Doctor Who Regeneration story or episode? And that is it for this year's Doctor Who festive reviews. I've really enjoyed watching these Christmas specials. I'd like to do some more next Christmas. But now we're going into the new year, as next time on Timey Wimey Review, I will be reviewing last year's New Year's Day special, Revolution of the Daleks. Until then, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Happy Christmas, my fellow Whovians. I hope you have a fantastic time, whatever you are doing. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. But as a good doctor once said, laugh hard, run fast, and be kind.